Test two. Okay, here we go. This stream is brought to you by foolish people saying crazy stuff. The title of this is Vanity, Wealth, and Other People's Money. America is drunk on OPM, other people's money. We're going to work the numbers here. This started because of a thread that happened in the group that I'm a member of. And because the thing is, because I'm in business, I work numbers. And many people don't work the numbers. Many people do not, they don't work numbers, man. So we're going to go through some numbers and we're going to do the real work here. But before we get into all of that, we're having the Labor Day sale. 55% off of anything at Hustlers Kung Fu Life Skills. Plus you get a $100 coupon. Yes, you get that. Plus 55% off of any course at hustlerskungfulifeskills.com. Money Lessons is the promo code. The promo code is under the video. So with that, let's go. Let's get into this. I got to do a little research because this is how it started off. We're talking about, once again, many people think paying cash for a car is stupid. You should take that money and you should put it down on your car, and you should take the rest of the money and somehow invest it in CD or an index fund or something like this. But they never talk about inflation. So matter of fact, let me see. Let me get in there. Let me see if I can get in there and show y'all what I'm talking about. It's taking a minute to come up. All right, so let me bring y'all into this conversation. All right. I paid cash for all of my cars before they rolled off the lot. This could use the money in a CD and it's some bullshit. My business throws off cash every month, way more than a fucking CD. That's poor people's finance. About to get into real estate and will be paying cash for my rental properties. Convince me that I'm wrong. To immediately own cash producing assets with the only liability is taxes and homeowners insurance. America is drunk on OPM. When you get the money to finance your own deals, you're free as fuck. A few months ago, I had a heart attack and could not work for a few months because I had no debt and paid cash for my cars and had cash in the bank, and I did not lose anything. All right, so here come Andrew Himes. Let me say you have $200,000 invested in real estate. Would you rather take 40 and buy 5 $200K properties, the cash flow versus one $200K property, the cash flow? OPM makes it possible to own more doors that you manage versus paying all cash for just one. Sometimes the debt makes it possible to become wealthier in the long run. All right. So this is the premise that we're operating on. This right here, what was put out. So what we're going to do, we're going to work the numbers. This is something that a lot of people don't do. So let's go to mortgage rates. Let's see, mortgage calculator. right. So we're going to be in here on the mortgage calculator. All right. This is one of the things when you go here, you get all kinds of stuff. So we're going to go 150. Interest rates 4%, because these would be investor loans, so they would be higher than regular rates. 30-year fixed. All right, so I'm going to have to do that backwards. All right, so 200K. Let's go ahead and go 5%. Because, you know, these are investor loans and you're not living in the home. So the interest rate's going to be higher. We go 30 years. And we're going to take 40,000, put down 20%. So your mortgage is going to be $858. All right. So we're going to go to how much can you rent a $200,000 All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. So we're going to put, we can do let's see. Let's get into the calculator. $200,000 minus 99%. So we can rent that house out for $2,000. All right. So we got some numbers to work with here. All right, so let's say with other fees and stuff, your mortgage is going to be right at $1,000 per month times 5. So you're going to cash flow at $1,000 per month times 5. So you're going to have $5K coming in. Now, this is working on the principle of leverage. Now, I got one house. So overall, you're going to have $10,000 coming in, and 5,000 is paying off mortgages. All right. So I got one house at 450,000, and I'm able to rent that out at 3,500. Now, the difference is this is all mine. And it's only $1,500 less than the proposed deal of taking 200,000 and using that money to acquire 5 houses and be leveraged. Because with 5 houses, and this is some stuff that I've looked at, I can get rents in this neighborhood $3,500 up to $10,000 per month. So we go ahead and do this 5, and it's going to get more challenging to get more houses. So then we come off and we get another one a few months later at another 450. That's 3,500. So that's $7,000 a month that's cash flowing that I only have to keep roughly 1 month's rent to pay the property taxes. Because see, this game right here, you got these 30-year loans. And you know, once again, it gets tricky to get that many houses. Well, if you go through conventional financing, if you go through a hard money lender, but see, this is the thing. You've only got $200,000 in equity. Over here, you got 900,000 in equity. So from the standpoint, because you got all these people who like use other people's money and get into leverage. Because see, once again, let me just go ahead and this 7,000 goes into an account to acquire more properties. So 7,000 a month for a year, 70 is $84,000. So this property is going to earn 60,000. So to me, it is better to go ahead and spend this cash and acquire your property from a rock solid standpoint versus just leveraging yourself to death. OPM comes with terms. My money's free and clear. Oh, dang, Steve Jameson. Warren Buffett says only when the tide goes out do you discover who's been swimming naked. Be real. Master P says he buys all his real estate and cars in cash. He says because then no one can ever take his assets from him. Thanks for the $10 super chat. How to go about an 800 credit score. I've been watching your videos a long time. Awesome content. This is my first live chat. Thank you. Well, the rule is 0.8 to 1.1% of cost. But that changes because if you have a piece of property that's in a very desirable area, you could rent out for way more money. All right. So let me just go ahead and redo this. All right. So 8 50, let's see, $1,000 times 5,000. Cash flow is 2,000. Well, the cash flow is $10,000. So 5 to you, 5 to the bank. Now, out of this positive cash flow, you got to pay taxes, carrying cost, you got to pay some bills, man, out of your 5,000. So you're not bringing home 60K a month, 60K a year. All right. So the way that I want to do it, pay house off in cash buy $450,000 property, rent for $3,500 times 12. So we're going to be at wait a minute. Is that like what I think it is? Because 10 times 3,500 is 35,000 plus 7. So this is going to be 42,000. Then buy another property for 450. So do it again. So you're going to have cash flow of 7,000 per month. And you own these houses free and clear. Now, with this method over here, you're going to have property taxes, insurance. So you're probably going to clear out at 35. So this is vanity wealth because you have way more equity in this one house than you have in these 5 houses. Let's say I needed to get some money and I wanted to go to the bank. It's like, hey, I got this house. You loan me 70% of this. 70% of 450. Let's see. $28. So I can get $315,000. Because these houses are already leveraged, I can't get any more money off of them unless these houses appreciate. Stan the man, yeah, uncle. I saved up to 20%. The average house is $200K. I'm starting small with multifamily. You can also save interest by living in a house. After a year, you can move out. Grant Cardone says about renting to people who can afford $3,000 plus rent is when the economy goes bad. These are the first people that lose their jobs. They're usually high level management. I would disagree with Grant on that. And perhaps 2 years in a given year without a tenant. Well, I would be managing my own property. But just here in the numbers, I have more equity I have more cash flow because essentially, the whole deal with this vanity wealth, you got 5 houses, they're in your name, but you don't own these houses. This one house has more equity than these 5. So that gives me options. And what I'm going to do is start my own property management company. And also, when things get tight, it's going to be hard to get money. This is the thing that a lot of people don't really see, because like the leverage model, as long as everybody pays rent on time, you don't have any disasters, you don't have any mistakes, cool. So let's see what happens when I get to my third house, 450. So we're at 10,500 per month. So that's 84. So this is 122,000 a year on 3 houses. So, because, once again, the whole leverage model, because see, this is the thing. Once you have the ability to do your own deals, once you have the ability to, because, from a poor person, like, look, if you got to do this to get in the game, do it. I'm not going to dissuade you. I'm not going to call you stupid. However, if you have the ability to pay cash for stuff, you can build real wealth. Paying cash is the shortest path to developing wealth because you've got these mortgages to pay. In $200,000 houses, Ernest, Mickle Travis, your partner is the bank of Uncle Sam. 35% got. No, Mickle Travis, not at all. Because here's the thing. Because you're paying cash, $450,000, until rents equal $450,001, you've not made a profit, so you don't have to pay taxes on this. This is another benefit to buying a house, parking cash in that house, and getting spendable cash every month. So you don't have to pay taxes on that. Real estate requires a specialized knowledge. It may be more important than cash. There are so many ways that you can make money with real estate. There are so many ways that you can set stuff up. You can buy property without money, but once again, if you want to develop real wealth and you have the ability to pay cash for property, dude, my dudes, this is a game changer. All right? Because let's see. We got these 5 houses, and we got $200K in equity. One house got $450,000 in equity. I am richer by owning that one house than I am by having those 5 houses with those mortgages. I am richer and I am safer because, typically, and, I'm speaking of my situation and renting to people like me. Typically, folks like me have reserves. So let's say I lost my job. I got cash money in the bank that could pay my mortgage or rent for years. So that's one of the things that happens. But we got people who are drunk on OPP. Because the thing is, anytime you talk about paying cash for something, these people come out of the woodwork talking about only use a small part of that cash, then take this cash and put it somewhere and invest it. They never talk about inflation. In inflation, like my last apartment I rented, I came out of that apartment was 1,100. That apartment today is renting for 19,500. Same apartment. Inflation is real, and they never ever ever take into account for inflation. They never talk about it. They never bring it up. Stay in demand. Ideally, I would get a mortgage and you can pay cash. That's good. You still can get a mortgage because you wouldn't have to use all your capital on the house. I was having dinner with someone who bought real estate. They paid cash for all of their houses. They bought one house for 60, one for 50, one for 80, one for 90. And essentially what they did is they had a good job and they saved the rent in the bank. And every time they had, well, actually they saved the rent in the index fund. And every time they had enough money to buy another house, they pulled the trigger. This person's retired. He's like, never had a mortgage on any of my properties. So once again, you know, the whole thing was, let's go here. Let's say you have 200,000 invested in real estate. Wouldn't you rather take 40K and buy 5 200K rental properties that cash flow versus one 200K property that cash flows? OPM makes more sense. So I had to let Andrew know that because see, and people who are saying this, because the thing is, you get a lot of people who say this stuff, they don't do it. They don't do it. They're speaking from theory and they're speaking out of their ass. So I had to tone him up because you get all these folks, man, and they talk this yin yang, but they're not technicians because, once again, I have more wealth with that one paid off property than I do fragmenting my wealth and having these other properties that are leveraged. Michael Travis, I won't pay Uncle Sam for 30 years until the rents get to the point as well. No, it would be at least 20 something years before I have to start paying taxes on these properties, because until I actually exceed what I invested in these property, the only taxes that will be due will be property taxes, and I have to pay homeowners insurance. But, just looking at this is a way that I can park money, get cash on a monthly basis, and avoid paying taxes. L. Cool J, most true millionaires pay cash for their homes. The object of the game is to never lose money. If you got a loan, you're losing the money, especially if you know you got it. L. Cool J, exactly, because there's this thing called interest. And typically when you calculate the 30-year payments, they're usually 2 to 3 times the cost of the house. Ernest Early, you can start a business and you can start generating that money. The Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki model is great for people with cash to invest in real estate. I think Graham just got lucky on YouTube. YouTube loves him. If you pay cash for it, cool. The faster you save, the better chance. Because my goal is to buy 2 to 3 houses next year and have them paid off. Now, at some point when I get more experience and I talk to people, but actually, one of the things that, going back to L. Cool J, Dave Ramsey actually did a survey of millionaires, and this is one thing that most of them had in common. All of them paid off their house very, very fast. They did not have a 30-year mortgage, because if you have a 30-year mortgage, you're losing money because you're paying that interest. Treat these houses like a bank. Because, here's my plan: to get $450,000 houses, put renters in them. But see, I don't plan on paying $450,000 for the house. This is where wholesalers are going to come in. I'm going to find some wholesalers that's convinced someone to sell their house cheap. I may have to go in and do a little cosmetic rehab. I may have to paint. I may have to redo the kitchen or something like that. That's cool. So I'll go in with an equity position and I'll own the house outright, get a renter in there, and it's just more money. Be for real. If you become a full-time investor, that's called a professional investor, you don't pay any taxes, everything's 100% written off. Pretty much. Can you flip money faster than the interest? Depends on what kind of business you're in. Be real. Robert Kiyosaki says, play Monopoly to get rich. 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel, repeat. Romero, professional investors pay no taxes, didn't learn that in school. Yeah, I agree that ultimately cash is and always will be king. Fajita, that's what's funny. I'm going to own houses and rent them out, but I'm probably going to rent my personal residence until it gets to a certain point. Now I'm sold in. Real estate's a part of my plan. Because, let me just go ahead and break down the 10-year plan here. All right, so let's get rid of that. All right, so 2 to 3 houses per year. Pay cash. Do this for 10 years. So I'm going to come out with 20 to 30 homes. Have the rent at 3,500 to 4,500. And over these 10 years, rent's going to go up. So I'll probably, because I haven't written it all out, but I'll have to start paying taxes on this house probably year 22, because at that point, the original investment has been recouped and we've entered into profit. So 20 times 3,500. Let me see. Go ahead, times. Is 70,000 per month. 30 times 3,500. Is 105 per month. That's good money, man. And that's the plan, because 10 years from now, I'll be 62 years old with 100, between 70 and 100,000, because it'll be more because the rents are going to go up. We could safely say I'll probably be getting like $85,000 per month, and I'll be 62 years old. Plus business income, because I'm not letting that go. This is the plan. Yep, cash flow is king. And that's what I'm looking at. Cash is prince, cash flow is king. Creative real estate is truly life-changing. I agree with that. Stan the man, I agree with you. The name of the game is cash flow. I really don't like stocks. Real estate and having a business generates a better ROI. I agree 100% with that, because having a business is what's going to entitle me to buy this real estate, because I have a high cash flow from the business. Without the business, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I'll have a cash flow business, a high cash flow business, high cash flow real estate investments. Be real. I mean, I just knew the numbers because, on paper, I own 5 houses. I got $40,000 in each house. I got $200,000 in equity, but I have high carrying cost. And because I got these 30-year mortgages, I am losing money. Thank you, Christian. Stan the man. And the real estate practices be done all over the world. My dad has a house in the Dominican Republic, and the rent goes to my grandmother. Joe Augustine, Glendon, how can companies that lose money stay in business? I never understand that. Joe Augustine, until what a lot of these companies doing is they have investors who keep putting money into the company, and this is how they stay in business. And when they reach a point where they can't find any more money, this is when they go out of business. LL Cool J, this is what I'm thinking. Broke folks thinks in days and months, rich folks thinks in years and decades. I'm looking at the next 10 years. That's what I'm looking at because, I'm still pretty energetic and stuff, but am I going to have this kind of energy at 62? Am I going to even want to do all this at 62? I may just want to pack it in and collect my rent checks. Stan the Man Greenpoint, the internet has made more millionaires than both. The Wi-Fi bread is unmet. I'm telling you. Real estate, Greenpoint, real estate for me, because once again, the stock market works if you're already wealthy or you have a lot of specialized knowledge or you're really good to, if you could become a trader, because when you buy stocks and hold them and wait for them to appreciate, you're an investor. When you're flipping stocks back and forth, buying, coming out of this position, you're a trader. So traders make money in the stock market, in a good market or a bad market. It just depends upon how much specialized knowledge that they have. But once again, everyone, look, if you have the ability to pay cash for your cars, do so. If you have the ability to pay cash for your house, do so. Do not get into this, well, instead of paying cash for the house, I'm going to take this money and go over here and invest in this CD. Because let's say you're getting 2 points on the CD. Inflation's 1.9 points. So you essentially get 25, 30 bucks for all the financial trickery. Guru James, what about buying just land? Is that a good option for long-term passive? You're going to buy land, you need to be sitting at the city council. Buying land is a long-term play. You want to buy land that's directly in line with development. So I don't know about that. Real James 100, that may happen. I got to look at the Airbnb deal. Real estate has made more millionaires than anything in America. Even the rich invest in real estate. I've heard that put out, but I think businesses have made more millionaires than real estate. But the thing is, real estate is such a good investment that people with money automatically do it. So one of the things that I'm going to do, because at the end of this decade, I want to come out with 20 to 30 houses. And, some of this stuff may change. I may do a little leverage, but I want a good, solid financial base, because one of the things is, Airbnb could bring in triple the revenues. Once again, that remains to be seen, because where I buy these properties and how I set them up, because what I've seen, the properties that get a lot of money are these weird, quirky little properties, like a tiny house Airbnb. They seem to get the money. I don't know. So we will look at that. But the first house I get, I'm going to put a renter in there and start getting those rent checks. That much is determined. That much I'm sure of. Because essentially, you got all these people out here. What's going to happen if you get addicted to OPM, other people's money, and then the money dries up? What are you going to do then? How are you going to make money? Once that dries up, once that goes away, then you got a problem, player. You got a big problem. And this is why I suggest that everyone starts a business so you can get yourself some high cash flow through your business. One of the things is, like, I don't go into a lot of business debt. I have very little business debt. I have a PayPal loan that I owe like $3,700 on, which I will probably get paid up very soon. And I keep my debt loads low for a reason, because I look at the profitability. Because most of you, if you had a small business that made you $2,500 to $5,000 per month on top of your job, most of you would be okay. Most of you would be rolling. Most of you would be living that life. So it's a matter of managing the money very well. I was having dinner with a friend, and I was talking about, what I make per month, and my monthly expenses are like 7-8% of what I bring in per month. 7-8%. I would be terrified if I was living a lifestyle that consumed all my money. That would be scary. That would be very, very scary for me. I know a millionaire who owns a lucrative stretch of farmland. He makes his money by selling off his tax credits. Farm, if you grow the right crops. I can't find the article, but there was this girl who farmed 3 acres, and she made $500,000 a year by growing specialized herbs. So farmland can make money. Airbnb is dependent on the market. Some markets aren't Airbnb friendly, like New Orleans. Real estate is a tried and true way to generate passive income. Everyone needs a place to stay. Pretty much. Also, look into lease options, bigger spreads, higher rents, zero maintenance, repairs, or property management. I actually watched a video that was talking about that the other day. And I don't really want to sell the houses, because part of what I'm going to do is create a property management company to manage the properties. Once I get to my 5th property, I want to hire someone to answer the phones. I'm going to have a landscaping company, because once I get to 20, 30 homes, I'm going to have a landscaping company go by every week, check out the house. And then your job is, anything funky going on with the house, let me know. Cut the yard. So we're going to offer service. You can buy all the fancy cars you want. God's not making any more real estate. MH8, if you're going to buy land, read your city's 30 master plan. Basically, my investors in Hawaii refinanced their houses. Now it's a hot potato to use the 1.5 million. And this is one of the reasons that I want to go in from a cash position, because when, let's say I have 10 houses, they're all paid for, and then there's this, I want to, like, hey, do a multifamily. I can go out and get loans on those 10 houses and go ahead and get this apartment building and have a lot of cash flow coming in. So it gives you options. OPM is because many business owners want higher returns by not another mentally tax endeavor. I read an article on Forbes that Koch Industries never operate with net debt. I mean, they got money coming out of the sky. They got money coming out their buttholes. And one of the Koch brothers just died. Stan Mann, yep, the asset bubble is caused by debt, people borrowing money they can't afford. This is a fake entrepreneur environment. So many companies raising money. I rarely hear about them making a profit. And this is something that Gary Vee talks about. All of these companies, that are in business to raise more money versus making their profit. It's very real out there. Steve Jameson, you can make 250 on an acre of land growing truffles. It takes about 10 years to get the soil right, but once it's good forever. Chris Moreau, less than 10% of the people actually cash out a lease option, very small percentage. Yeah, because the guy who was talking about it, they was talking about it's like you get a big down payment and the people can't fulfill the deal and the down payment's non-refundable. So you'll get that same down payment 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It's very interesting. A rich real estate investor recently told me a good investment is now to buy big houses and make them senior homes. 5,000 a bed is not bad. Hey, if you want to do that. When I had the flea market, there was this lady in Stone Mountain and she did that. She was a nurse. She bought a really big house and she had 10 patients in this house. And I think back then they were paying her $5,000 a person. So she was getting $50,000 a month from this house. Well, I don't think a lot of developers are going to sign off on the lease. And, the lands, you got to be really careful with the land. Raw land is a different animal. When I was a kid, there was this place called Simmons, what was it? Simmons something. He was a developer. He had these big earth movers. He had 2 helicopters and he was a developer. He would go in and grade raw land and get it ready for development. And he made a lot of money. Man, I'm in too many groups, folks raising money via credit cards and don't have a real business ideal system. This is something I warn against, like, getting business credit. If you have a decent credit score, you can probably get $250,000 in business credit cards, lines of credit. But if you don't know what to do with that money or you don't know how to sell, that money will make a fool of you. I know someone that's in that situation right now. They raised $500,000 in business credit, did not listen to the hustling Godfather, listen to some other folks. Now they got a debt of $420,000 that they got to service off of their salary. And I haven't talked to them in a minute, but I know it's stressful. Yes, my mentor had one house that he got non-refundable down payment 5 times on one little house. The gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, because this is how they broke it down. Because like I said, then most folks don't go through with these things. And they put down the big down payment and you get to charge them more per rent because you're building equity. Man, be real, you better understand. The business credit folks will come after you. They definitely will come after you. But I just did this based upon, because I went ahead and asked this person, does he have any properties? Because it's very easy to go ahead and speak in theory. But once again, he didn't know where I was. He didn't know what I was planning on doing, because I don't want, because also getting 5 mortgages traditionally is going to be hard. You will have to go to private hard money to get that kind of action. And those loans, the interest rate on those loans are going to be higher. I mean, 10%, 12%, 15%. So that's something else I didn't take into account, because let's say you have a $200,000 house, you take out a loan of 10%, your mortgage is $1,200, $1,300. That's going to reduce your cash flow that goes into your pocket on that house. Let's say one dude has 5 on paper, shelf corpse, got 1.2 million now, sweating, looking to get into a big deal. I think a lot of people are trying to get into deals. But see, this is the thing. People don't know how to hunt for deals, and they don't know how to work deals, and they don't know how to crunch the numbers. Because once you start crunching numbers and looking at deals from that point, because there's like, to some people, that whole 5 mortgages, putting 40,000 down on each house, that looks really attractive because it's like, whoa, we're going to cash flow at $10,000 per month. But more than likely, when you're using private money, you're probably going to pay 7, if not 8,000 on the mortgage per month. So I would cash flow and be wealthier with one house that's paid off than having all this leverage. Now, once again, if you got to do leverage to get in the game, do so. It's always easier said than done, but it's worth it when you finish. You got to look at those numbers, man, because I know, because I've been studying this market for 2 years. I know what I can do out here. I know what I can get. And the key to the point will be relationships, because I know there are wholesalers in this area. I know there's wholesalers that's convinced some people, and I might even go the wholesale route to get someone to have a discounted price on their property and come in and buy it. So that's how I'm looking at it, because when I say I want to have a properties of $450,000, I have no intention of paying $450,000 plus real estate fees for this property. There are too many deals out there. There's too many people in trouble. There's too many people who need someone to come bail them out. I figure I should be able to get into these houses for $350 to $370 and go in with $100K equity, if not more. I like the way you're trying to create revolving money cycle in your business, owning your real estate company, landscape service to manage the land. Because once I get the property management company rolling, I will offer this service to other people. So that will become a revenue center. Probably not going to have a course on foundations. Chris Moreau, I know some wholesalers in your market is quite competitive around ATL. Because, everybody, I know someone who's trying to get into wholesaling because she used to buy her houses, but now she's just trying to get some cash because I think she's tired of managing the property. Oh, I'm going to get to know some people because this is, the community and getting to know people. Because right now there's somebody with my deal in their pocket, and I'm going to get my deals. I would imagine it would be very competitive around here because you have several neighborhoods that are hot right now, that people are buying properties, that are flipping properties, that are rehabbing properties. I mean, because, there's so many people who move here every month. Robert Clark, to do multiple loans, an operator will need an special LLC, sum of loss cross collateralization. The relationship and operating agreement is crucial. Wholesalers will need licenses soon. Already in Chicago, wholesalers need licenses in Chicago. I noticed these big houses be renting out the rooms. It's boarding houses, 1920s again. Essentially, people can't afford these big houses. And typically what a lot of folks are doing is buying these big houses and subdividing them into smaller units. I'm going to get a Porsche, but I'm not getting a GT3. I'm going to get the 911 4S. Good Lord, Chris Monroe, you are on fire. I just closed my 17th deal Friday. $10,000 on a deal that walked up to me at a Q2 gas station. Because, next 10 years, and we'll be talking about this, are going to be critical, because I wish I had started this 10 years prior, but I was off on some other stuff. But this is the difference between vanity wealth, what looks good on paper, what looks good, because like, let's say I have a house that's paid for and I have a vacancy for 3 months. Not a problem. But if I got mortgages on that stuff, I got to pay those mortgages or I will have a problem. All right, Amanda P. Because one of the things that you guys got to understand, real millionaires pay cash for their stuff. Because this is how people end up losing it all, because they're over leveraged. This is how people end up losing their family houses, their cars, getting sued, because they're seriously leveraged, because business creditors will come after you. American Express will come after you. Chase Corporate will come after you, and they will be relentless, because, typically a business credit cards line is going to be much higher. So they're looking at that. There's a few of them for rent around here. I don't know if they're profitable. I don't know how that works, but that's something I'm not going to get into. Pick 3, no, I don't have a course on it because I haven't done it yet. I've already set up my holding company, LLC, and that's where I'm parking the money that I'm going to send down to the operating company when I get ready to pull the trigger. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, but the real deal is most millionaires, their houses, like the folks here, they pay cash for that house, and they've been rehabbing it and doing all kind of work into it. Many of the houses in this neighborhood are paid off. They're not playing games, because see, when you have the money, your life is different. Now, this isn't to dissuade somebody from hustling. You have no money, you got bad credit, wholesaling. Get it while you can still get it. Because like someone just put in there, wholesalers are going to need licenses. I mean, it's just, they're not going to let people get this kind of money without some more skin in the game. All right, so that's it. Real money speaks differently than fake money. Real money is a whole nother game. Real money is so different. All right. So let's get into it. This is what we're doing with this Labor Day sale. It started today. It's going to go up until 11:58 p.m. Labor Day. You get 55% off of anything at hustlerskungfulifeskills.com. Go ahead, get that. Go ahead and get what you need. And that's what's going on. That sale is going on to help you start these businesses. Because if you manage your money correctly, and that course is now on Hustlers Kung Fu Life Skills, and let's say you go ahead and get yourself a business, and you got a job, and you're making $3,000 a month from your business, and you're able to save all that money. It's life-changing. It will literally change your life. The ability to make more money than you need. This is what we preach here. Make that money. I never understood how the millionaire athlete loses his house to foreclosure. Because he didn't pay cash for that house, man. Every time I see these guys who get $1 million contracts and they're financing cars, I'm like, you stupid, man. Pay cash. I live 6 minutes from Illinois to St. Louis. A lot of wholesalers are mad at the new law. It's coming, man. It's coming. All right, so I will see you guys later. Understand the sale is going on. Go ahead to hustlerskungfulifeskills.com. Pick out your courses, and I will see you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a happy, happy Friday.